the percent of students with siblings, and the number of full-day slots. So I have a handout for you that just has those numbers on them. If we could pass them around, in case you don't have your handout, I just want to give you some additional information. So that top table gives you the information that was included in the handout. So when we take a look at the bachelor school, you can see that there was a total enrollment of 82 students in the kindergarten. 48 of those total students have siblings in the kindergarten. So that represents 59% of the kindergarten class. We only had 36 available slots for the full-day K program, so you can see that if we only gave preference to those parents with siblings in the school, you would already fill up those slots and have leftover students if they all wanted
even
full-day.
Even if we gave sibling priority, we still wouldn't be able to meet the demand of all the students with siblings for kindergarten.
If they all wanted a full-day
Right.
slot. Same at the Hood School. Let's take a look at those numbers. The total enrollment for kindergarten was 50. The number of students with siblings was 25. So as you know, that represents 50% of the class. And if we are enrolling up to 18 in a full-day kindergarten program, because we only have one full-day program at the Hood, then you can see that, again, we have more students with siblings than we do slots available. And finally, at the Little School, we have 50 students that were in total enrolled. 26 have siblings, representing 52% of the population, filling 18 slots. So I just made some observations. Over 50% of the kindergarten enrollment in each of the elementary schools includes students with siblings in the school. The number of kindergarten students with siblings exceeds the number of available full-day kindergarten slots in every elementary school. There is the potential for kindergarten students who do not have siblings in the school to be unilaterally denied access to full-day kindergarten if only those with siblings have priority. So the additional handout that I provided to you really takes a look in more detail at the full-day kindergarten enrollment statistics. So we can see why there was some unrest on the part of the parents whose children went to the batch whose siblings attended the Hood or the Little. If you take a look at the bachelor, because all of the slots that were requested were satisfied at the bachelor school, you can see that there are 48 students enrolled, 29 of them have siblings, and all of them were able to get a slot at the bachelor. But then we take a look at the Hood and the Little schools. You can see at the Hood there are 23 students that wanted full-day kindergarten. 10 of those students, or 43% of them, have siblings. Through the lottery, there were 7 students that needed to attend the bachelor, and 5 of those 7, or 71%, had siblings. So clearly, there was a preference for the parents of those students to be able to stay at the Hood where their siblings were. If you take a look at the Little School, there are 22 students that attend the full-day K. 12 of them have siblings, representing 55%. The students that weren't selected through the lottery to stay at the Little, there were 6 of them, 4 of them had siblings, representing 7%. So for a total of 28 students that wanted to attend full-day K at the Little School, 16 of them had siblings, representing 57% of the population. So you can see that the number of students that have siblings in the school exceed the number of slots available for full-day K.
I just wanted to try to sort this out because there was some concern. There were a couple parents that came in and said they did send some follow-on emails. I haven't heard anything from them in a while. Now, so maybe I can ask the principals that I guess they're going to the batch now, so I'm assuming everything is going fine, correct?
I think the Savage Start had is a pretty good variable in that situation where the batch of the school stops after the Hood school, so that gives them time to drop off and pick up at both schools and weeks. Families driving around.
The other thing is, I've been on the committee for 7 years now, and this was the first time that we had had anybody ever come. Not that it means that it's not a valid complaint, but we've had the same, I think, process in place for a number of years. there were valid concerns raised, but I think at the same time, I think we've been able to deal with those, and the parents seem happy with the situation, or at least they're living with the situation. The other issue that concerned me is we would be discriminating against kids without siblings if we said, well, sorry, we have to give priority to all of these kids first, so you can't go to full-day kindergarten at your own school, at the school that you were supposed to go to. And I don't think we can do that. So,
But although I can understand parents that have siblings where they have to go to two different schools to
Right.
drop off the kids.
But that was my next question.
PTA, Parent Teacher Association, they have to either split their time or not do it at all because
Mhm.
you've got two separate kids in two separate schools.
yeah, that's why I say, I think there were some valid
There were some valid
yeah.
reasons that
Mhm.
would probably, overcome that kind of.
Doesn't kindergarten start and get out at a different time than the rest of the school, or is it the same time?
No.
This is that.
Full day.
Full day goes and
Yeah.
gets out at the same time.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Preschool.
I'm not sure, I'm not really clear on this, and maybe I'm the
Okay.
only one that's not very clear on this. So for example, let's just take the Wood School.
Okay.
We had 23 students and 10 of them had siblings.
There are 23 students currently enrolled in the full-day program.
Right, 10 of them had siblings.
And 10, the 10, yes, 23.
So why couldn't we give them priority then? Because then they would. how
They
many
are
slots-
there, they're enrolled.
They're enrolled there.
Yes, that just represents how many of the 23 have siblings that are enrolled.
Okay.
But there were 7 students that did not get selected through the lottery process.
Right,
And I wanted to show you that 5 out of those 7 had siblings.
right.
So-
So we would still be under that Wood School, under that enrollment. So if we added those 5, then we would have 15 total out of the 18 students with siblings at that school. And that would be true for the Little School too.
We only have 1 full-day program.
Right, and
Okay.
18 total, correct?
Well, the 18 is what we do the lottery for, but
Okay.
we also have students that participate in the full-day program that have a need for a full-day program through the individual education process. So we maintain some slots that are not accessed through a lottery to provide the correct services and programming for those special education students. So right now, we have 20, that's a high number, to have 23 students in a full-day paid program.
Right.
So right now, we could not absorb any more students in that 1 full-day paid class because we already have 23 enrolled. And that's why the 7 that were left over had the choice to either go to the half-day program where there was a space for them or to participate in the tuition-based program at the bachelor where there were spaces available.
So, right. I still don't understand why we couldn't give those 15 the priority for the siblings.
Because then you would only have
Then you
another
would
10
list the 7,
families.
it 8 more spots left.
You just went from having.
We base it on 18.
Right. Or based on 18, but we
Yeah.
have a class of 23.
And
Because it's a
special ed.
Special
uh,
ed.
Right. So,
So
right.
that would leave us with 3 more spots though. So, but we did address the needs of those parents by giving the siblings that priority.
They got those spots because they were drawn.
Oh, no, but if we had given them priority. If you
Somebody
tell me
else
that-
would be displaced.
That's right.
A lot.
The 13 that
issue.
don't have siblings wouldn't be able to attend.
Well,
Or not the
they
13,
would
I'm saying.
they would be placed in other
It
schools.
wouldn't be equal.
The 8 would be,
Right.
they'd be placed in another school.
Right.
I think this is a straight up policy question, and this is what the school committee does. We decide whether this is a fair process and continue this process. I think this is a fair process. I would hate to see any particular group, after meeting our legal obligations for our IEPs, to be disadvantaged somehow because of their status, whatever that is, whether it's sibling or, living in to me, that just doesn't make any sense. And so I'm happy to continue with the recommendation. The only concern I have is how is the lottery assigned? No one brought this up to the school committee of how the lottery is assigned, how they give it numbers and that whole process. And all I remember is that numbers were drawn out of the hat. To me, that's the only area where I see fairness as an issue. And I don't know. So that's the only unanswered question I have.
There's no
It doesn't
suggestion.
have anything to do with what you're asking us to do.
There's no suggestion that the lottery was unfair, just a
No, it's
suggestion
just,
of the way
it's,
conducted.
preferential, and to me, there's always gonna be, people who are gonna be disappointed because in some way, shape, or form, this changes how they run their day, and I completely understand that. But at the same time, if we change this process, we are going to have a larger group of people who are upset, a different group of people who will be disadvantaged.
Yeah, I think the problem is that we're excluding other people from even having a chance to go to kindergarten at their home school. And if we ever had a situation where you had 18 slots and 20 parents with sibs say, I want my kid to go, because that might happen. If we guarantee kids with siblings that they can go to their own school for kindergarten, that may happen, and we may have no slots for, and so you don't have a sibling, so you can't go to kindergarten here. I just don't think we can do that.
Well, beyond that, if you have too many students, some of them can't go to full day. So
Right.
that's the other thing, you're excluding them
Right.
possibly from, never mind where they're going, that they can go at all.
Unless we have enough where we can afford to hire
Yeah,
another.
that's-
But that's a different, that's a whole different thing.
It is?
I mean, yeah, because you're filling it up on, based on how many slots you have total. So after that, that's.
Yeah, but that student that doesn't get, that has to go into the lottery because he's being excluded because of a sibling in that school, now runs the risk of not getting in at all. Not only does he run the risk of having to go to another school, he runs the risk of not getting in to the full day program. So the consequences are well beyond just going to another school.
This is all information that we go over with our parents, the parent orientation rate, which our parent orientation rate for 2011, 2012 is being conducted next Thursday evening at the little school at 6:30. We go over all this with parents and we're very clear of the expectations and what it means when you apply for full day. We go over the application where it says this could happen, so you need to talk now whether or not it makes sense for your family that if you do not get a soft spot in your home district that you elect to be considered for one of the other two schools. Because it's either you're in your half-day kindergarten, which we offer all families for free, or you get one of the spots in your district for the paid tuition. But what we do as a customer friendly is to see if they don't get one of those spots, do they want full-day kindergarten enough that they're going to accept that open enrollment, what we call it, and parents provide their own transportation to the school because they prefer to have that full-day kindergarten experience. And if they did not have it in North Reading Public Schools, these are probably the families who would still elect to go private kindergarten full day because whether they need it, they believe in it for the educational experience or they need it for work.
Is this a school committee policy?
No, see, that's, I don't think it is. I think
This is an
the-
administrative matter. then
I think,
we can
yeah,
give a
the only thing
recommendation.
we could do here is if we wanted to change the policy, or the way it works, we could strongly urge the superintendent to look at changing the policy. I don't think we can.
I think it's an administrative matter that we can certainly give a recommendation.
We're assessing whether there's a legal question here, or there isn't. I mean, that's okay for us to look at a particular
Yeah.
procedure to see if any of our policies are being violated. And clearly none are, so unless we want to make a new policy, which I highly doubt we want to go that route, there's no opportunity for that. Then we just say this fits within the purview of our policies. That's it. We don't need to make a motion.
I'm assuming your recommendation is not to give preference.
My recommendation is to maintain equity in the full-day kindergarten selection process, and to recommend the continued current lottery procedure should the request for full-day K slots exceed the number of slots available.
Mr. Bowers?
It seems to me that the policy is fair and rational. It also doesn't take account of the circumstance that the person who has kids from different schools, especially two young kids, maybe a first grader and kindergarten, and having to deal with being in two places at the same time. I don't know if there's a reasonable solution to it. I think that it's kind of one of those circumstances that we're faced with. It would almost seem like perhaps we could attempt to if there were enough slots for all of the children who wanted to go, that we could try to arrange some sort of a deal where parents would volunteer to change schools so that their kid would go to a different school and let the siblings be together on a voluntary basis.